I'm going to get some packages.
Good luck. I have to go tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm actually, let's engage with the ideology statement first. Why is it an ideology?
So, for example, if you look at one of the most used resources all around the world, it's this cute little image called the genderbread person. Seen that?
No.
They use it even in children's hospitals to teach staff about this. But the concept of gender identity, and I'll use that as one resource, but there's many others I can go to, teaches that your gender identity is based on your personality, jobs, hobbies, your likes, dislikes, roles, and expectations. So what the heck does your job have to do with your gender? Isn't that kind of a sexist, regressive thing to say? So this is the ideology basically I'm talking about. This whole ideology hinges on stereotypes, and it's teaching that tomboys are actual boys. And my message is one of actual body positivity, which is that a little girl who hates girly stuff, who wants to climb trees, throw around a football, play in the dirt, who wants to be an engineer when she grows up, she's 100% girl. Because there's no right way to be a boy or a girl. But these kids who are gender non-conforming are being led to believe that that means they are trans, and that they won't find true happiness unless they physically alter their body.
I'm sure that there is that message, but I think you're absolutely wrong to assume that trans people don't exist. They have existed for all of history. They have existed in other parts of the world.
So I didn't even say that.
But that is
I didn't even
the
say
message.
that. Well, the message is what I just gave you. Now you jumped to this next conclusion.
I think it's
you jumped to an
important.
assumption.
I think people die because of the message that you are making without clarifying or without even caring to advocate for trans people.
So, what is a trans person?
A trans person is a person who is born in a male or female body but wants to have the other form of body, the opposite sex.
I get that. So, but what is a trans person? What does it mean to be trans?
It means just feeling to be in the wrong body.
So how does it feel to be, let's say, so I'm male. How could I possibly know what it is to feel like a woman?
Because the structure of their brain is different.
Is it?
Yeah, science shows that.
So you think this is a scientific thing? This is something going on with their brain?
Absolutely.
And you have evidence to support that?
I am the evidence to support that.
Okay, how so?
I have always had gender dysphoria, and I can sit down and describe how it feels to have a vagina, and I think I will do a better job than you. And both of us are male, and I do a better job intuitively. There's even something called forgot the name in English, the phantom syndrome, that people feel that they have the opposite type of body, and they can describe it really well.
So,
and I was not, give me a second,
yeah.
I was not born in the US, I was born in a part of the world, there was no ideology, it was a theocracy, and gender roles were enforced by the government. I didn't know any words, including gay or transgender, until I was born. And I struggled with that all of my life. And there was nobody to give me acknowledgement. So I'm not sure how you're arguing that this is an ideology. Ideas belong to certain parts of your brain that are particularly human. Your sexuality does not.
so you're born male?
I am.
You're male.
Absolutely.
As I would define it. A sperm producer.
Sure.
Okay. But you just told me you know what it would feel like to have a vagina.
To some extent.
How does that work?
I just feel it.
And you've read scientific studies saying that there's neurological differences that support this idea of
I
being
don't
trans.
need to. I don't need to.
For
But
me,
I have.
transition is something you do, it's not something you are. And I think we should frame this as people with gender dysphoria. And gender dysphoria absolutely exists. And to help these people, but do you think we should be blocking puberty in a 10-year-old?
I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that.
Have you read all the studies into gender dysphoria going back 5 decades? They all point to one conclusion, which is that 80 to 90% of the time, children with severe, prolonged gender dysphoria saw it desist when they went through puberty. 60% thereabouts of these people grew up to be gay. This used to affect mostly boys, and we're talking about a population of 1 out of maybe 20, 30, 40,000 had actual gender dysphoria. This is where I'm talking about gender dysphoria from a young age, 4, 5, 6 years old, all the way into adulthood. 87.8% in the most recent study of a survey of 139 boys that they followed from the age of 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% saw their gender dysphoria desist. 63.6% grew up to be gay.
That is concerning. I agree with you on that.
So here's where this becomes like, look, I'm not going to deny that people have prolonged gender dysphoria and it lasts into adulthood. And for some of these adults, if they want to transition in that case, I wish nothing but a happy life for them. But we have absolutely no way of knowing which of these children will see their gender dysphoria desist or not. The Academy of Medicine just 6 months ago in France stated exactly this, that it's impossible to say which children with gender dysphoria will see it desist. Yet the practice today is to affirm all of these children at a very young age when their brains are still developing. Many of them haven't had prolonged gender dysphoria. It just showed up when they got into middle school, and it's impacting a whole new cohort today. Traditionally, this was mostly boys, and mostly boys who grew up to be gay. Today, this is hitting girls who never had gender dysphoria growing up. They're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old.
How do you know that they never had gender dysphoria until they were
This is as they've reported themselves. I've read, so first of all, I've talked to hundreds of these kids and young adults. I've talked to hundreds of detransitioners who are now in their early 20s who have deep regrets. And I've read 1,000 of these stories firsthand. But the practice today is to affirm only. And very quickly they get put onto this medical pathway. So this is my concern. Now I understand if you come at this with some presuppositions about what my different opinions might be, and I totally get it. But the argument that the activists give are that puberty blockers are reversible.
Let me correct you on that.
Sure.
I don't make presuppositions about what your opinions are, but I do have concerns about the whole coalition of people who have concerns that you are expressing, and also the type of behavior that you are showing by coming and standing here, which I don't understand.
Which behavior am I showing?
By wearing this, standing here, and are you trying to do what? Why don't you start some sort of other effort? I think this is.
I'm just trying to do exactly what we're doing right now. This is it. Have a
conversation.
That's all I do. I've been doing this for 2 years, traveling North America. I've had about 8,000 conversations to this point. Literally, probably 2,000 hours on the street, and I literally just have conversations.
I am concerned about your or other people, their opinions in that coalition of opinions about gender binary. I'm a historian of gender and sexuality,
Okay.
and I study that, and I'm very concerned about the effort that goes into maintaining gender binary in the society, which is the source of fears around transgender people and people who are non-binary, the source of their vilification. And I agree with I have the same concerns that you have about gender dysphoria and how it can desist. And I'm open to debates about that, I'm open to questioning about that. But I'm absolutely appalled by the way that politicians in this country are handling the situation. I'm absolutely appalled by the Republican Party and anybody in that party or the religious coalition that has formed around vilifying trans people, non-binary people, and queer people in general. I'm absolutely appalled by that. I have no space for that. It's genocidal. And no, I have
Genocidal. Who have they killed?
Many trans and queer people who commit suicide. 41%.
You got statistics on this?
Yeah, 41% of people who identify as trans commit suicide.
It's not true.
That is true.
Okay. So I know exactly what so-called study you're referring to. It's been thoroughly debunked. If you go and Google this in 2 minutes, you'll get it debunked. I would recommend you go to a great website, a very factual website
Okay,
called,
let's say
can I finish my statement?
Yeah.
I would say go to statsforgender.org, enter suicide into the search bar. It's not true that there is an epidemic of suicides going on. It is true that suicidality amongst children who identify as trans is higher. Suicidal ideation
So
is higher.
that is an statistics
I think-
by which you're using to basically say that people who identify as trans have mental health issues that are comorbid, which is a way of basically infantilizing them and telling them that they should not have authority around the.
Well, they are
on their
children,
own
right?
body.
No, I'm simply saying that he's right, they are children.
Is
I'm
it wrong
simply
to
saying that
infantilize a child?
Statistically, it's not true that 41% of trans people are killing themselves. In fact, if you look at the best study we have, it was a Swedish study that was done. This is an academic study. This isn't right-wing, left-wing propaganda. It showed that the suicide rate 10 years after transition was 19 times higher than their peers. There is no evidence of an epidemic of actual suicide. Suicidality is higher, but suicidality is even higher among autistic children. It's even higher among anorexic kids. It's even higher among kids with personality disorders than it is for those identifying as trans. And like all of these conditions, we need to help these children with the underlying conditions that are leading to this suicidality. But with anorexia, we do not affirm the anorexia. We don't tell a girl who's threatening suicide that, yes, sweetheart, you are overweight. Let's give you liposuction. We don't do that with any other condition in the world. Because there's never one reason a child kills themselves, either. And it's a despicable manipulation by people, not you, but it's a despicable manipulation by propagandists who are pushing this in order to coerce parents to go along with the sterilization and maiming of their own child. When we know that the vast majority of these kids will simply grow out of it. And we've never had any studies into this new cohort of teenage girls and preteen girls who out of the blue, relatively speaking, suddenly state that they want to be boys. They never exhibited gender nonconforming behavior growing up, and now they do.
That is concerning.
There are social contagions in the world, right? Not just this, there have been other social contagions. Bulimia was a social contagion. This used to affect a handful of girls until it was written about, it was put in the DSM, magazines wrote about it, and then because it was thrust into the broad public knowledge
What
that there was this
percentage of-
condition of bulimia, suddenly we had millions of girls doing it.
But like, what percentage of girls are now wanting to be boys? Do you have a statistics on how many of them actually like? What percentage is that?
So, for example, one example, it varies by regions. In the Pittsburgh School District, they did a survey of all the high schools, and 10% of the children identified as trans or non-binary.
Trans and non-binary. How
That's
many
right.
of them stated that they want to go through transition?
So they're not all going to medically transition, right? Some people take on trans as an identity, and most of them, I will concede, will grow out of this, or they will stop identifying them at some point in the future. The children who end up at the gender clinics,
What
for example,
percentage
at
of kids is that?
so
You should go be bigoted somewhere else.
thank you. So we don't have
Like,
exact
seriously, like,
statistics
leave here.
because gender clinics, due to various laws and privacy concerns, don't release all of those statistics. But for example, at the Tavistock in England, in the last 10 years, there was a 4,000% increase, a 40 times increase in children showing up to medically transition. The percentage of females to males was more than 2 to 1. 35% of the kids, out of a sample size of more than 1,000, had moderate to severe autism. Usually the mild cases of autism, Asperger's, now, I have talked to hundreds of parents who still don't this isn't like some right-wing boogeyman thing going on.
You did not.
A lot of these kids have autism, and why are we
So
not?
what?
Why are we not addressing that? If you go to the very, let's back
What?
up.
No, I would engage that. I have Asperger's. I have autism.
Okay.
Why is that? Why is that important? Yeah, they have a person who has autism.
Yeah.
They identify as trans, or there's a higher possibility that they identify as trans. I don't know why is that important?
Because we're sterilizing thousands of autistic kids.
What do they want?
There it is.
They can say they're against it.
They don't always. But that's a very complicated process. guarantee they can do it, because if they started on puberty blockers at Tanner Stage 2, they're not there to harvest. Marcy Bowers
I
is
still
the
wonder what percentage. Like we are breaking it down, and I'm not sure if the percentage of people who are getting damaged by these careless medical practices is that high. That I'm not sure. You did not.
So the percentage is it's not about the
percentage.
percentage. It's not about the percentage.
It
It's about
is.
the increase. Because
Yeah,
if we
the
don't,
increase is partly because people are more educated about this issue, and because parents are more open to listening to their kids. It is because
okay, so let's address that. I've heard this argument 1,000 times. People say, I say, why has there been a 4,000% increase in the number of kids identifying as trans? They say, this is a journalist they follow. They say, oh, it's because they feel accepted now. Right. That's why they do it. If that were the case,
You will be assaulted, you touch me.
okay.
sorry,
You will be assaulted, you touch me.
I'm not touching you.
Okay, then don't touch me.
I will not.
And don't obstruct me from doing what I'm doing. All we're doing is having a conversation.
He's a journalist.
I would
Leave him
prefer you
alone.
not have that conversation.
He's not with me, he's a journalist.
Your preference does not annul the rights of people to have a conversation.
Why are you so against people having a conversation anyway? Why can't we have a conversation about a controversial topic? What's that? Okay, what's that?
RXM3. So,
What is happening?
so you see
We're
him?
just having a conversation.
He's having a conversation with him.
So people say all the time, oh, it's because they're more accepted. That's why there's a 4,000% increase in teenage girls, not teenage boys. That is trans. If that was why we have such a big why should this be why would the one cohort in the world that's always grown? More than any other cohort in the world, teenage girls who always fall for these types of statements.
Because as you grow, you start developing social connections that you challenge, that we undermine if you transition, if you come out. Many of them are married, many of them have children. There are a lot of reasons that people who are older might not come out.
So the kids that end up at these gender clinics have autism, they have eating disorders, they have anxiety,
Don't put
depression.
autism next to eating disorders.
I'm-
Like you are
there's co-
vilifying people with autism by
No, I'm not. I'm simply listing the kids that show up at these gender clinics. They all have some comorbidity going on. There's eating disorders, there's cutting, there's depression, there's anxiety.
It is
Let me finish. There might have been abuse, there might have been trauma or sexual abuse. And the practice today is simply to affirm these children right away. And we are not looking into any underlying comorbidities. And we should be treating these, we should have these children going through
That's just not true in
extensive
practice.
mental health and therapy appointments before we give them a chemical castration drug that has been used to castrate sex
Not all
offenders.
puberty blockers are castrating people.
It's a chemical
in
castration drug.
practice, the medical establishment that you are criticizing is a lot more open to actually providing people with therapy. They do so before recommending transition.
Okay, so
But
that's a
people
great
have
assumption.
the freedom
That's a
because.
great assumption.
But people.
Do you know who started the first gender clinic in Boston 15 years ago? Her name's Laura Edwards Lever. Look this up.
I
Go
don't
read.
care.
Hold on. So you're saying there's this extensive therapy approach. Laura Edwards Lever started the first gender clinic in Boston 15 years ago. She wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post 6 months ago that you need to go read. And in there, she's stating exactly what I'm stating, that there is no safeguarding and there's no therapy for these kids anymore. On their very first appointment, in more than half the cases, they're getting puberty blockers and the opposite sex hormone.
That's just not the way I have experienced the
This woman is a
medical
leader.
establishment.
This woman is a leader in the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. The president
So it
elect.
seems you are an ally of transgender people.
I have a lot of transgender friends, yes, that support exactly what I'm doing. Now, the president-elect of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health is a trans woman named Marcy Bowers.
Okay.
Marcy Bowers has been blowing the whistle on how what's going on today. There are no safeguards for these kids. There's no explanation for this massive increase. And Marcy Bowers admitted in a Zoom call that all of the boys who started on puberty blockers at Tanner Stage 2, literally none of them have had any sexual function as an adult.
That is
And
concerning.
They're
Again,
literally, listen to you. Concerning. Listen to you. This isn't
Why?
concerning.
Guys, let's
this is
not, let's like
childish.
literally support him because he's literally like, he's just spreading like stupid shit. He's on this campus and he knows that we're like,
No, I think that he's saying something that is important, and I have a personal experience with that, and that's like that.
important, like,
Important because it is affecting something.
oh yeah.
And the thing is that a lot of people who experience gender dysphoria desist. Their gender dysphoria goes down, lessens as they grow up.
Gender dysphoria is real. Oh wait, what?
Yeah.
Are you like kind of agreeing with me a little bit?
On that very particular issue,
You're talking to someone who identifies as trans sort of here, by the way.
I have had a gender dysphoria all my life, and I have experienced it. I don't agree with the way that he's doing it. I don't agree with a lot of things that he's saying, but
Your dysphoria is like everyone has had the same experience.
no. I absolutely agree with you that is a thing. That is just my experience, and because of my experience, I was having that conversation. Entertain. If it was just like any type of transphobia, I would have just left it, because I'm also a historian of gender and sexuality, so I know really well. Actually, like I have dedicated the last few months to studying how this idea of gender binary developed, and how damaging.
Children, you think that like letting children of age use like hormone blockers? Are you like?
I'm not against that. I'm not necessarily for that. I'm curious to like what is, because I also have a studied history of medicine and how much medical establishment makes a lot of mistakes. So I just want to make sure that people who are like me get the best care possible. However, I have no time for people who deny that transgender people exist. I have no time for people who want to infantilize them by calling them autistic, which I am again, and like. It is. I agree with you. The fact that they're autistic is totally fine, but by saying that they are autistic, therefore they don't have agency, you should not give them choice. That is, well, it is
It should
implied.
be concerning that we're sterilizing thousands of autistic kids. It should be concerning that the Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, for example, on their website states we don't yet know why all these autistic kids.
Because they don't understand. Because
Can I finish a sentence, or are we gonna just talk over each other? Because that doesn't really work if you want to have a civil conversation. The so-called experts in the world don't even know why this is happening, but it's not stopping them from sterilizing these kids.
Okay, so my partner is autistic and non-binary, and the way that they've explained to me is that part of autism is like some social constructs don't really make that much sense,
Exactly.
right? Gender is a social construct. No, like ask any biology professor here, ask any gender.
Oh, I've got friends who are
professor
evolutionary
here.
biologists.
Evolutionary biology is
Yeah.
kind of.
Oh,
iffy
you know what? One of the persons in the persons in the biology department.
I
here
would
at
reject
Brown
all
supports-
of biology, by the way. Like, it's,
So,
You missed that, but one of the persons who works
I'm
in the
not actually
biology
done, so if
department
you're gonna tell me
supports
not to
you.
interrupt you.
No, you just told me to go talk to biology people. Well, one of the biology professors here supports
Okay,
me.
okay.
So, okay. There you go. Keep
no,
going.
but like I'm
Um,
interested.
I'm
Like,
overwhelmed by our
I'm
experience.
more
Keep going.
talking to you because honestly,
No,
what you're doing kind of.
I can see it's triggering.
it's okay.
So basically, the way they teach me is that like gender is a social construct, whether you want to believe it or not. It's a social construct. Like, oh, boys are this way, girls are this way. For a lot of autistic people,
becoming a journalist, you know that, right?
whatever autistic non-binary people,
Too bad.
like, why do I
Why
have
don't
to
you
act
come
this
harass
way
me?
because
Leave the
I
journalist
have a
alone.
vagina?
Journalist is with you.
like,
I don't care what you say.
I don't really understand why.
So, are you trans?
I'm like,
Are you?
No.
Damn,
You're so
tragic.
Are you on hormones?
No,
Okay. Are you biologically male or female?
no.
why do you want to know about this person's genitals?
Stop fucking filming me. I do not consent to be filmed.
Oh, he's not
Stop
asking me
it.
to film him either.
I'm not filming him. I'm playing some fucking music.
Okay. Well, I'm filming.
If you stop interfering with this, we'll
If you
stop
just leave us
filming.
alone, we could have a nice conversation.
Well, unfortunately, you're not gonna have any nice conversations either way. So get the fuck out of my school.
All right, I'm not leaving. You can tell security if you like.
I'm like, I know.
You want to have a conversation, my man?
Yeah, I can do it.
All right.
No one fucking talk to him.
All right. Might have a thumb. Okay. So, you know what? I just want to set like some basic standards of conversation.
I would like to. Please stop talking. He's gonna film it. He's gonna put it up on the internet.
Why
He's
are
gonna
you
make
trying to
everyone
tell
look bad.
people
Please.
to not have a conversation? Like, what kind of country do you think this is? Why can't you let people have a conversation?
It is your right to have a conversation. It's my right to ask.
Why are you so frightened by
Don't
people
have
having
that
a conversation?
Have a good day.
Okay, let's have a nice conversation. Let's be calm, and I'll let you finish your point. Please just let me finish my point. That's all I ask, because he wasn't wanting to. He's not actually listening. That guy I was talking to, he was always getting on to his next point without actually listening to what I was saying. Yeah. All right, so, my man, welcome to, well, I guess you should say welcome to me. I'm Owen Brown. Thank you. How's it going?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. So I guess you want to know what my position is?
Yeah, I mean, I read your website.
Okay. Yeah, my website's super basic. I need to make it better. I do all my campaigning on Twitter though, so you'll find my Twitter feed there. I'll get way more information on there. But I don't think we should be stopping puberty kids. You know, we should be letting them grow up, and if they want to transition as an adult, that's a decision for adults to make. The children's brains are developing. They're actually developing when they're about 25. And this is not something to be taken lightly, but at the first sign of a child expressing gender nonconformity and saying they're trans, we're putting them on this medical pathway which stops their bodies going into puberty, we're giving them the opposite sex hormones, and we're even doing surgeries on kids. So I think you should not be doing that. Like not be their bodies.
Does that position come from you as a father? Like, you have two daughters. So I think you have to worry that growing up in this country where gender is starting to, definitions are starting to blur, you're worried they'll be confused and be allowed to make decisions over their later.
I'm not worried about my kids at all. Not one bit. So I'm a total anomaly actually in this entire debate that's going on across the Western world. Because yeah, I have nothing to worry about this personally, but I became aware of all these issues. And my girls are 10 and 12 years old, so they're at that age where a lot of these girls, my sisters, are okay. So a lot of these girls around that age in puberty is when a lot are saying that they're now trans. And the practice at these gender clinics is just to affirm them only. And we are giving them a drug that's never been approved for this purpose. It's a drug called Lupron usually. They find it's called histamine, but it stops their bodies from developing. Their sex-based characteristics won't develop. So girls' breasts won't grow, their hips won't get wider, boys' penises won't grow. And they keep these kids on these drugs for years. And the argument that the activists make is that, oh, they're fully reversible.
No, they're not.
Because time's not reversible, right? If you're on puberty blockers from 12 to 17, you don't get to go back to when you're 12 again. So you end up with these young men, for example, many of whom are just